What's up, y'all? It's your girl Portia on a journey, back with another dope freaking video, no pun intended. As you can see in today's title, we're going to be talking about my ex that introduced me to pain pills. I'm just going to tell y'all how I met him, nothing too major. I know that my channel is about my struggles with addiction, but I'm going to do a lot of stories in the future that are going to be involving this dude. So I felt like I needed to give y'all a whole backstory within one video. So before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button, and y'all, leave me some comments so I can know exactly how you feel. Let's get into it. So how I met my ex. For one, we're gonna call my ex Toxic, and you guys are gonna know, maybe not this video, but some videos in the future, y'all gonna know exactly why I'm calling this dude Toxic, because everything about our relationship was just that. As a matter of fact, if he had a YouTube channel and he was telling stories and he had to give me a name, I'm pretty sure that he could name me Toxic as well, because we were just that toxic for each other, period. Okay, so let's take it back. I had already had my oldest son, which is 10 years old now, so y'all do the math. Y'all can figure out about how long ago this was. So my son was around I don't think he was quite 2 years old yet. So I already had my oldest son. His father and myself, we were still together. We were living together. Where I was at, I was not near my mom. I was not near my dad. I did have some family members that lived a little close to me, but my son's father and myself, we lived together in an apartment, and our relationship was just on the rocks, honestly. But I did have hope. I was thinking, like, this relationship is gonna work. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna get through this, blah, blah, blah. This is my child's father. One day, I'm walking across the street to one of my homegirls' apartment, which I met her at work. That's a whole nother story. So I met her at work. I was her manager, and me and her was just like super, super tight. So anyway, I'm walking across the street to her house, and I see this dude. The first thing I got from him was little young ass gangster. Like, I just thought that he was just like a troublemaker, little young dude. But he was cute. I definitely thought he was cute. Y'all know how, like, once you stop dealing with a person, you look back at them and be like, what did I ever see in this person? Like, I know that has happened to me a couple of times. I know that's happened to y'all. So I can't say that right now I don't think he's ugly. I don't think he's ugly at all. But back then, I really, really thought he was cute. But let's remember, I was still with my son's father. So all I could do was say, he's cute. But let me go on about my business. So anyway, I'm walking across the street to my friend's house, and he's walking across the street towards me. Basically, where he lived is in the direction as to where I was going, and we were kind of like meeting in the middle. So he walks up to me. He was like,
"Excuse me, hey beautiful, hey beautiful."
So I'm like, we're passing each other. Like, I'm going on past him, and he turning around like, hey, beautiful. So I'm just like, no, thank you. So I turn around, and I'm just like, hey, how you doing? He's like,
"Can I get your number?"
And I was just like, no, thank you. Like, I have a boyfriend. And he was just like,
"Oh, you got a man?"
So I'm just like, yeah, I have a man. So I continue to go about my little way, meet my homegirl, and I'm like, girl, I just saw this dude. I think he was cute, but like, I gotta keep it cute because, I got a man at home. So my homegirl, she's just like,
girl, you and that dude is not gonna be together.
Like, she knew all about the drama, and basically, like, he was cheating. He was leaving every chance he got to go cheat and not take care of the responsibilities of having your own place and having a kid. Like, he just did not want to take on the financial burden, and he also just act like he was not satisfied. But every time I turned around, he was coming right back, and I was letting him. So we were at that point in our relationship, and it was like basically the relationship was over. But like I said, I still had so much hope, even though we were still not on good terms at this time. So anyway, my homegirl, she knows all of that, and she's just like,
I don't know, girl. You need to be looking at other options.
She was around for a lot of the arguments, and she just didn't think that he was the best for me. So anyway, I'm describing the dude. She's like,
what do he look like? Like, who? Maybe I know him. Who is it?
So I'm describing her. She's like,
Toxic? I think you talking about Toxic.
And I'm like, nah, girl, like, I ain't never seen this dude. Like, it can't be somebody that you know. And she was just like, I don't know. Like, what you describing, that kind of sound like toxic to me. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Fast forward, we continue to kick it, hanging out all the time. Myself and my son's father, we split up. We split up for good because we were known for going back and forth. But this particular time we split up, he decided he wanted to leave our apartment, which was technically my apartment, but I felt like it was ours. Like if I was sharing it with you, then I would always call it ours. So he leaves our apartment like he always does. And this time I had just had enough. Like I was just so fed up. I was done. So I already knew that I was really, really done. And of course, me and homegirl, we got to celebrate.
Shawty got a big old booty, yeah. Twerk, yeah. Twerk, yeah. Let me see on twerk.
So I didn't have a whole lot of friends out there, but she was one of them. And she actually had a couple friends that she was close with, that she went to school with, and they were just really tight. And she introduced us. So one night we all got together at my apartment and we just had some drinks and whatever. And we just kicking it. So she's like,
Yeah, Portia, she met this dude, and I think that it's toxic. I think that it's toxic.
so they like, oh my God, girl, like you need to holler at him. He be getting money. And I'm like, yeah, but he seemed a little young. Like if y'all talking about the dude I saw, he seemed a little young. And they like, yeah, girl, that's gotta be him. Like that's gotta be him. Cause this dude, he is young, but don't let the young one fool you. Like, he be on his shit. He be taking care of business. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, I had a cousin that lived across the street from me. And I noticed one day I was outside and I'm like, hey, cuz. And guess who I see cuz with? You guessed it. Cuz is outside chilling with Toxic. So I'm looking like, what is cousin doing with him? You know? Cuz like, what's up, Portia? I'm gonna come through later. Like, you cooking later? And y'all, at the time, I was always cooking something. I can't say the same for today, but back then I was always cooking something. And I was always at home by myself, me and my son, and I didn't mind having company, especially my cousin. So I'm like, yeah, cousin, I'm gonna be cooking. Like, come through. We could watch TV. He like, yeah, because I'm trying to watch da-da-da-da-da. Now, remind you, back then, cousin didn't have cable at his house, so he would always come to my apartment and just, you know, watch TV, eat a little food, just kick it. We'll grab a little drink, whatever. So I'm like, okay, but you already know, like, I don't do that company and all that. So he like, cousin, come on now. How many times I've been in your house? I know. So I'm like, okay, just making sure. Later on that day, I get a knock at the door and I go to the door and it's cousin. So I'm like, hey, cuz, like, what's up? So he starts walking in and I go to shut the door behind him. And he's like, ho, wait a minute. So I'm like, you know, what's up? So I just hear a voice like,
Dang, she trying to shut the door on me and everything.
so I opened the door back up and I'm just like, y'all, cousin had done brought Toxic with him to my house. So I'm just like, oh my God, like what is going on? But of course, at this point, I'm single. I knew that he liked me or he wanted to get my number at least. So I'm single. I'm chilling at the crib. It's not a big deal. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So he like, yeah, cuz, is it okay if Toxic come in? This is my boy Toxic. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, whatever. So they come inside. We kick it. We have a little bit of drink. Toxic's like,
Is it okay if I smoke in here?
now, y'all, I'm talking about tree. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about tree. So I'm like, it's cool. And matter of fact, this particular day, my son was out of town with my mom. He had went to visit my mom. And so he wasn't there. So I really didn't mind then. Like usually I did smoke, but I would not smoke directly around my son. But this time he was gone. So I'm like, yeah, it's cool. So I'm like, hey, like, let's turn up. So cousin is like, you ain't got no friends. So of course I'm like, let me hit up homegirl. Now, y'all, I knew that homegirl was not going to be interested in my cousin, but I still wanted her to come through because Toxic over here. Like, first of all, I need her to come because now that I know his name, it's definitely who she said it was. So I'm calling my homegirl and she comes through and she likes to smoke too. Like, she smoked way more than I did. So I'm just like, this is her scene, whatever. So we all kicking it, we chilling, she come through, we kicking it, and we just have a really, really good night. So fast forward, it became a regular thing the next upcoming week. So basically, of course, I was working during the week and I needed someone to babysit my son by this time my son was back. Now, usually his father would watch him while I was working, but as I already stated, daddy gone. Like, he is not here anymore. He was not trying to help me figure out daycare or nothing. Like, he was just gone. So I didn't have nobody to watch my son. Oh my God. Like, I was so devastated. I was just sitting there like, what am I do? What, I'm supposed to take him with me? Like, what, I'm gonna just pack him up, have him on my hip while I'm sitting here arranging clothes and trying to do the shoe room. Like, I was always in that shoe room. But yeah, so I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? So anyway, I'm just venting one day to my friend and cousin because they just happened to be over. Matter of fact, I think Toxic was there too. So cousin is like, cuz I got you. I can keep JoJo. I can keep JoJo. I don't know. I don't know if I said his name before on here. I don't know. But at this point, whatever. I'll figure it out later. But he's just like, yeah, I can keep him. So I'm like, for real, cuz? You sure? Like, I could pay you. Da, da, da. Now, remind you, I felt in my heart of hearts that I could trust cousin. He was good with the kids and everything. Like, I really thought I could trust him. So I'm like, oh my God, thank you. And the times that my homegirl wasn't working, she would come over and watch my son with my cousin. So I thought it was cool. Now, a couple days I would come home and I would see that my cousin is at the house. He would watch him at my house. He's at the house watching my son, but he also had Toxic with him. Now, I really didn't mind. It was no big deal because Toxic had shown me the little bit of time we had spent around each other that he was a pretty cool dude. And he was also cool with my son. As a matter of fact, my son was gravitating to him so much. They just were really, really cool with each other. So one particular day I come home and Toxic is there and my cousin is there. And I'm like, whoo, it's been a long day. Like, you know, thank you. So I get my son and I'm like, hey, you know, kissing him. And I'm just so happy to see him, as I always was when I would come home from work. And so cuz it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Like, I got something to do. I gotta this, I gotta that. So I'm like, okay, which he normally would like go home most of the time when I came home from work. So Toxic is like,
I'ma chill a little bit longer around here, like if it's okay with you.
now we have been doing a little bit of flirting here and there. So I was just like, okay, whatever, cool. So anyway, he stays, cuz leave, and Toxic is like,
I ain't trying to throw dirt on my nigga name or whatever, but like, I don't know. I don't really think you should have cuz watching him.
so I'm like, huh? Like, what? Why would you say that? So he's like,
Yeah, like I had to end up changing him. Like when I got here, you know, he had used the bathroom, he had peed, he had pooped, and you know, cuz was just letting him run around.
oh, hell no.
Like he just running around with a little dirty diaper. Like that kind of stuff causes rashes and blah 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 blah.
And I was just like so devastated because like one thing about it, it's really, really scary out there when people are changing your kids' diapers, and you just never know the type of people that you're gonna run across. It just really freaked me out. But at the same time, I was just very thankful that he changed them for me because yeah, that kind of stuff does cause rashes and stuff. So I was just like, oh my God, thank you. So I end up talking to cuz about it, and I'm like, cuz, Toxic told me that he ended up having to change the baby because like you just was letting him run around with a nasty diaper. So cuz is hot as hell for one during this conversation, and he like,
Man, I know. I know, cuz, but see the thing about it, like I don't really do all that shitty shit. All that shitty shit.
what did you just say to me? So I'm sitting here like devastated in the moment because I'm just like, did he really just say this to me? Like, this is the person that I got watching my son. He's keeping my son, and there's going to be plenty of times that my son is going to poop on himself, and he won't even change the diapers. So like, it really upset me. I really didn't know who else was going to be able to watch my son while I'm working. So we just having this conversation. Toxic is there. So Toxic is like, don't worry about it. Cause he could see like the look in my face. And like, I literally looked like I was going to cry. So he's like, don't worry about it. I'll be here with him. Like I started being here with him anyway after that incident. You can't just let the little young boy run around like that. So I'm just like, he's being so nice. It was almost scary because once again, you cannot be too certain about people around your kids. So anyway, I was having like this really good vibe about it though. I was praying about it and I just let it be what it was. I was always talking to my son, like trying to figure out what's going on. I was talking to my cousin because I did trust my cousin to tell the truth. And he was just like, nah, this dude, he a good dude. Like, no, you ain't got to worry about that kind of stuff. So anyway, time goes on, a couple weeks go on, and it ended up transitioning to cuz was not watching the baby at all. It was literally Toxic now being my babysitter. And get this, Toxic would not even accept when I was trying to give him money at the end of the week. When I would get my check, I would try to give him money for keeping my son, and he would not even accept the money, y'all. Like, he did not want to take the money. So it was just really crazy. We was vibing. Next thing you know, we're just hanging out every day. We were really vibing, and all he kept saying was like,
I see you single now. I see you ain't got nobody here with you. You know you need a man. Like, don't sleep on me.
remind y'all, I ended up finding out that he was a few years younger than me. And I was young myself, so you can imagine. But don't make that face. He was legal, okay? He was legal, but barely. So I'm just like kicking it with him all the time, and I'm noticing he getting money. He paying for dinners. He buying alcohol, and every time I turn around, we smoking. And let me tell you, if I wanted to go hang out with my homegirls, he was keeping my baby for me. He was giving me money to go out. It was just crazy. Like, he was showing me real grown man vibes. And like, it was so different because when my son's father was there, he just wanted me stuck up under him. Like, he didn't let me go out with my girls, with my homegirl and her friends, which they became my girls too. He didn't let me do none of that. If we weren't kicking it at the house with him, we weren't hanging out. And they did that sometimes, but like, they didn't like doing it because we just always was arguing about something. So this was very refreshing to me. It was new, and it was just like, cool. Not only that, but Toxic used to love my cooking, and it made me feel good. Like, it almost became like I replaced the one person in my family, and it was a family again, except like he would go home at the end of the night. So one night I come back in the house from going out to the club, and it wasn't something that I did often, but there was a time or two that he was watching while I went out. So this particular night, I had went out to the club with my girls, and he had watched my son. So when I came in, my son was already down for bed, and he just looked at me. He was like, look, now I come in, I'm lit. I had been drinking. Like, that's another story because that night was crazy. But anyway, I'm drinking, I'm lit. I come back home, and he just looked at me. He was just like,
Look, why we keep playing these games?
who you talking to? You talking to me? Because like, I don't play games. Playing games is for kids, and I'm not a kid. Like, you might be a kid, but you talking to me about not playing games. Like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? So anyway, I'm just looking around like, who he talking to? Like, playing games. And as I'm literally doing this, like, me? He grabs my chin. You know how they cuff your chin real quick? Homeboy cuffed my chin. It was like,
Sweetheart, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Why are you playing games? You already see what it is.
y'all, when I say I was just so taken aback, but he was right because like, we were living like a couple. Like, the only difference was he would go home at the end of the night, but he was always there early in the morning. He would watch my son while I was going to work. He would watch my son when I went out a couple times, and he was there when I would get home. He would take out food while I'm at work so that I can cook when I get home. And if I didn't feel like cooking, he was buying the food. So he's right. Like, when I thought about it, I was just like, he's right. We do know what it is. It's definitely something. So anyway, he looking at me and I'm looking at him, and he's just like,
Don't look like that. I know you want me. I could tell you want me.
so I'm looking at him like, yeah, I do want you. Like, stop playing. I do. We ended up sharing a kiss. The kiss grows. He ended up locking the door because I was so taken aback. I didn't even lock my door. So he locks the door. He grabs my hand. And y'all, he leads me to the bedroom. And this man was just like, so, I don't know. It's like he was moving like he knew what he was doing. He had some wine glasses back there, a little bit of wine. Remind you, I had already been drinking. So he pours the wine and I take a sip. He got protection. He like, I didn't have to worry about nothing. Like, he was just like, yeah, I'm a grown man about this. We know what we came here to do. I know what I came here to do. That's how he was acting, right? So I'm just like, okay, like, period. That's what's up. My boy, a grown man. We ended up doing what we do or whatever. He stays the night. I wake up to him, right? So remind you, before he stayed the night that night, I would always wake up in the morning and he's knocking on my door, right? This time I wake up and he's laying right next to me. Like, the cuddle after the fact was everything. Like, it was just like, I was so used to sleeping beside someone every night and then not. So to have that all night cuddle again, I don't know, it just felt good for me. So I wake up and my son is trying to get in the door. At this point, he was walking already and he had a room of his own. He slept in his own room. But I could hear him. My bedroom door was closed. I could hear him like beating on the bedroom door. So I jump up really, really fast and I go to get my baby. Thank God. Because like the night before was kind of crazy. We ended up doing what we do. We ended up taking a shower. We had it all mapped out. Well, he had it all mapped out. And later on, I found out that he was so adamant about like doing things a certain way because he knew that when I woke up, my baby was going to be up. And he felt like, let me just make sure she already got herself cleaned up and blah, blah, blah before she go approach the baby. Y'all, like he thought about everything. So I go get my baby because I'm just like, yeah, like everything, like I ain't got to worry about it. So I go get him. But y'all, I grab him and I run to the living room because I do not want him to see Toxic in my bedroom. That was not a normal thing. I think he might have came back there 1 or 2 times while I was home to get something for the baby. And my son was only 1, so I don't know why it mattered to me that much. But I don't know. I feel like you gotta be like real careful about what you do in front of your kids, because like even at that age, because they catch on, they catch on to everything. So I run to the front with him, and then next thing you know, like Toxic wakes up and he comes and he's like,
"Good morning, beautiful."
Y'all, I'm holding my son. He reaches, he's like walks up behind me and he bends around me and like gives me a kiss while I'm holding my son. Here I am trying to hide. I don't want my son to think, you the babysitter, sir. Like, what are you doing? He kisses me in front of my son. And then he grabs my son out of my arms like,
"What's up? What you doing, young boy?"
I already told y'all they had a super tight bond already. Like my son was really taking to him. But he's like, "What's up?" And he grabs him up and he's like, you know, so excited to get in Toxic arms. He loved that boy. So he grabs him and he's just like,
You feel like making breakfast, or you want me to order something? You want me to get something? Or you gonna make breakfast? Your mommy wanna make breakfast?
He's talking to my son now.
Mommy's gonna make breakfast? Yeah.
Y'all, I felt in heaven. I felt in bliss. I don't know why this was just like making my heart melt for some reason. So I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make some breakfast. Like by this point, he was just connecting with my son so well, which was a vulnerable spot for me. And like I just got weak and I was just like, oh my God, like this could, I just saw my whole life flash before my eyes, like in a positive way. Like I just saw him fitting right into the family. Like, yeah, like we plucked one out and we put you there and this could work. Not to mention, y'all, why my son had the nerve to look like a mixture of me and this boy. That's a whole nother topic. But anyway, so I'm just like, I done forgot all about how I want to keep it a secret. I'm just chilling. I go in the bathroom and like wash my face up real good. And he comes in behind me and he grabs like a new washcloth and he starts washing my son's face for him. Next thing you know, he grabs my son's toothbrush. Now, mind you, he was babysitting and sometimes I would work early morning. So he knew where everything was for my son. Like he was the bomb babysitter. Like he was just on top of things. So he starts grabbing the toothbrush and he's like, look, and he grabbed his toothbrush because like I said, he had everything planned and he knew what he came to do. So he had his toothbrush in his little book bag. So he grabs his toothbrush and he's in the mirror and he got my son up like this and he's brushing his teeth and he's like, look Jojo, like this. And he's showing him how to brush his teeth. It was so cute, y'all. I was melting. I'm just looking like, oh my God. So he like, you gonna make breakfast? And I'm just like, oh, yeah. I just was looking at y'all because y'all are so cute. Y'all are so cute. You're gonna make a great father one day. So he just laughing.
Yeah, I ain't trying to have no kid right now, but Jojo, he cool.
So I go and I make breakfast, and next thing you know, there's a knock on the door, and he like, oh yeah, I told my homie to pull up. You don't mind, do you? Okay, so y'all, I'm like, what? I need to put a robe on at this point. Like, I got clothes on. Like, I have like a t-shirt, a long t-shirt, and some shorts that was kind of like so short you couldn't even see them over the long t-shirt. But I'm just like, let me cover up because I'm back to reality. I'm thinking like, oh my God, these people gonna know that we messing around. Like, I don't know. I was just weirded out by it. I didn't want people to know. I didn't process it myself yet to be trying to share it with somebody. So anyway, I'm like, let me throw something on. And before I could even do that, my homegirl had an extra key to my apartment. She unlocks the door and walks into the apartment. And I'm just like caught. And she's like,
Oh, hey, Toxic. Hey, Portia. Hey, JoJo. What y'all do? What's going on in here? Oh, girl, we gotta talk. We really gotta talk.
so I'm just looking like I had the dumbest, I don't know why, but I had the dumbest look on my face. I was just so embarrassed. And I don't know why, because like he was not a bad dude. Like, he was just doing everything right. He was nice looking. He was taking care of things. He had the money. Like, it wasn't a bad catch, right? So like, why was I looking so embarrassed? But I'm just looking like, oh, hey girl, like, girl, yeah, girl, we do gotta talk. So by this time, I'm just like, whatever, like, it's home, girl, I'm gonna tell her about it anyway. But it was just kind of awkward in the moment because I was caught, right? So I'm like, girl, I'm gonna run to the back and put something on. I go and grab a robe. And next thing you know, it's a knock at the door, and it was actually his homeboy. And no, y'all, I did not mind. I know y'all thinking like, he letting his why he calling his homeboy over there already? Like, dang, that ain't even his place. But y'all, he told me who the homeboy was, and he had actually let this guy come over a couple times, him and my cousin, because they were all really good friends. And it was another little young boy. I don't know what I thought I was Stella getting her groove back or something. I don't know. But anyway, I let him come in. The boy is knocking on the door. He comes in, and he just like, what's up, y'all? Like, you could tell that like he knew something, right? He knew something. But come to find out, Toxic never told nobody, you know, at that moment that he had stayed the night or anything. But the vibes was there. Like, it was written all over both of our faces. Like, we were smitten. Like, I think that Toxic went into this situation thinking like, he gonna put the works on me. He gonna have me sprung. But what really happened, yeah, he did. But what really happened was we had each other smitten. All I know is that day went by. We chilling, we ate breakfast, whatever. I happened to be off that day. So we just chilling. The night come. Toxic didn't go home. Toxic didn't go home. So maybe like, because his mother ended up coming the next day, bringing him some clothes. She's real confused, by the way. She's like, what is going on? What? I think he never like stayed with a female before. Yeah, no, he would of course go out there and do his thing, but like, he lived at home with his mom. But she was not used to like, why is my son not coming home, basically? And he's calling her to bring him some clothes, a change of clothes and stuff. And they, remind you, they lived right across the street. So the mom didn't mind, but she was just like, who is this woman? So his mom comes maybe like the next day after that, and she brings him clothes, and he's introducing her to me, to my son. And the mom is just like, how you doing? And she ended up liking me, y'all. She ended up liking me, but she was just so confused. And she also was concerned because there was a child in the picture, right? After that, he used up that little bit of clothes. And then next thing you know, we all walked over like a little family. We walked across the street to his mom's house, and we got him some more clothes. And I didn't worry about it. I was washing clothes. Point blank, to make a long story short, he never went home. After that first night, he never went home. And that boy, I'm going to say boy, because yeah, he was giving me grown man vibes at the time, but I found out that he was a boy. I found out that I had a lot of growing up to do. That boy turned my world upside down. Upside down. And I mean that. And like I said, I'm going to share more stories in the future that are going to involve Toxic. I didn't want to give like a really long backstory in another story. So I felt like it was very important for me to just introduce him to y'all because he plays such a role in my life with addiction. Quick disclaimer, I do not blame Toxic for what I went through as far as my struggles with addiction. He did introduce pain pills to me, which I will be telling that story, so y'all make sure you stay tuned. But I take full responsibility for what I did after that. So anyway, y'all, that's my story. Before I go, I have a couple questions for my viewers because y'all are my people, okay? So question number 1, have y'all ever dated somebody that was younger than you? What do you think? Like, is that like a no-go? Because obviously this situation did not go well. I'm not with Toxic today, but is that something that went well for you? Or do you think it's just like depends on the person? Is it something you just don't do altogether? Because your girl's single right now, and like I be having a few people holler at me, and some of them are younger. So I'm just curious. And then question number 2, was I wrong for letting that boy just come in and sweep me and my son off our feet like that? I have my opinions about things now. Obviously, I was younger then, but like y'all just tell me what you think. I'm really, really curious to know what you think. But anyway, y'all, that wraps this story time up. And of course, I will be coming back with more story times as well as informative videos. I'm doing things on my channel right now to focus on those struggling with drug addiction, and I still have a lot of knowledge to put out. But for now, if you haven't already, come on now. If you're watching this video, if you've watched any of my other videos, if you have not subscribed by now, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can pause the video right now. Subscribe. Hit the like button. Because when y'all hit the like button, when y'all leave me comments, it helps me out. YouTube notices that you guys are interacting and they push my videos out more. And the more my videos are pushed out, the more lives that I can save and we can save, because this is a collective thing. This is a partnership. Go ahead, leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe. And don't just subscribe, turn on your bell notifications so that you can get notified every single time that I upload a video, because you know you don't want to miss it. You know you want to watch it on time. So make sure you're doing that. And y'all, until next time, I'll see you in my next video. Peace.